In a world often plagued by judgment, criticism, and division, the concept of unconditional love might seem like a distant ideal. Yet, it is precisely in times of turmoil and strife that the essence of this divine love shines the brightest. God's love knows no bounds. It doesn't discriminate based on our past mistakes, our shortcomings, or the color of our skin. It's a love that embraces us in our brokenness, lifts us up from the depths of despair, and offers us forgiveness when we least deserve it. But perhaps, even more profoundly, it's a love that extends redemption. It's the assurance that no matter how far we've strayed from the path, there is always a way back. It's the unwavering belief that our past does not define our future and that every moment is an opportunity for renewal and transformation. Friends, embracing the unconditional love of God is not merely an abstract concept. It's a choice, an invitation to let go of the burdens of guilt and shame and to bask in the light of acceptance and grace. It's a journey of self-discovery where we learn to see ourselves through the eyes of our Creator, valued, cherished, and infinitely worthy. But make no mistake, this journey is not always easy. It requires courage to confront our inner demons, humility to admit our faults, and faith to surrender to a love that surpasses all understanding. Yet, the rewards are immeasurable. For when we embrace God's unconditional love, we find healing for our wounded souls, strength for our weary spirits, and purpose for our lives. We discover that we are not alone, that we are part of a greater tapestry of humanity, woven together by the threads of divine love. So, my dear friends, I urge you today to open your hearts to the boundless love of God. Let go of the chains that bind you to your past and step into the freedom that comes from knowing that you are loved beyond measure. And as you do, may you be agents of this love in a world that so desperately needs it, extending forgiveness, offering redemption, and embracing all with open arms. Remember these words: "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." Romans 8 verses 38 to 39. When we fully embrace this love, we embark on a transformative journey, one that not only changes our individual lives but also has the power to ripple outwards, affecting those around us and even the world at large. Firstly, embracing God's unconditional love allows us to cultivate a sense of inner peace and serenity. In a world that often seems chaotic and unpredictable, knowing that we are unconditionally loved by our Creator provides a profound sense of security. It becomes an anchor amidst life's storms, guiding us through the darkest of nights with the assurance that we are never alone. Moreover, this love empowers us to extend grace and compassion to others. When we truly understand the depth of God's forgiveness towards us, it becomes natural to extend that same forgiveness to those who have wronged us. We become agents of reconciliation, fostering unity and understanding in a world that is often torn apart by division and strife. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love compels us to live lives of purpose and meaning. When we recognize that we are deeply loved and valued by our Creator, we are inspired to live up to our fullest potential, to use our gifts and talents for the betterment of others and the world. It ignites a fire within us to pursue justice, mercy, and righteousness in all that we do. But perhaps most importantly, embracing God's unconditional love enables us to experience true freedom. It liberates us from the shackles of guilt, shame, and fear, allowing us to live with authenticity and joy. We no longer need to strive for perfection or seek validation from others because we know that our worth is found in the love of God alone. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a one-time decision, but a lifelong journey, a journey of growth, discovery, and transformation. It's about allowing ourselves to be fully known and fully loved, embracing our humanity while also reaching for the divine. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of life, let us never forget the profound truth of God's unconditional love. Let it be the guiding light that illuminates our path, the wellspring of hope that sustains us through every trial and triumph. And may we, in turn, become vessels of this love, shining brightly in a world that is yearning for the transformative power of grace. One of the most profound aspects of God's unconditional love is its ability to transform our relationships, not just with God, but also with ourselves and with others. When we embrace this love, we learn to see ourselves and others through the lens of grace and compassion. In our relationship with ourselves, embracing God's unconditional love means letting go of self-condemnation and embracing self-compassion. It means recognizing that we are human, prone to mistakes and imperfections, yet deeply loved and valued by our Creator. This realization frees us from the tyranny of self-criticism and allows us to cultivate a sense of kindness and acceptance towards ourselves. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love empowers us to extend that same grace to others. It means loving our neighbors as ourselves, showing kindness and understanding even to those who may seem difficult to love. It means seeking reconciliation rather than retaliation, forgiveness rather than resentment, and empathy rather than judgment. In a world that often seems divided by hatred and animosity, embracing God's unconditional love enables us to be agents of healing and reconciliation. It means reaching out across divides, building bridges of understanding, and standing up against injustice and oppression. It means embodying the values of love, mercy, and justice in all our interactions, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love empowers us to live lives of purpose and significance. When we know that we are deeply loved and accepted by God, we are freed from the need to prove ourselves or seek validation from others. Instead, we can live with confidence and courage, using our gifts and talents to make a positive impact in the world. Ultimately, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a passive acceptance, but an active choice, a choice to live with open hearts and open hands, ready to give and receive love in all its forms. It's a choice to embody the transformative power of grace in a world that is hungering for love and connection. So, my dear friends, as we journey forward, let us hold fast to the truth of God's unconditional love. Let it be the guiding light that illuminates our path, the source of strength that sustains us through every trial and tribulation. And may we, in turn, become beacons of this love, shining brightly in a world that is yearning for the transformative power of grace. Embracing God's unconditional love calls us to a life of radical authenticity and vulnerability. It invites us to lay bare our deepest fears, insecurities, and struggles before the one who knows us intimately and loves us unconditionally. In doing so, we find freedom from the masks we wear and the walls we build, allowing us to experience true intimacy and connection with God and with others. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love compels us to extend grace not only to those who are like us, but also to those who are different. It challenges us to break down the barriers of prejudice, discrimination, and exclusion, recognizing that every human being is a beloved child of God deserving of dignity, respect, and compassion. In a world that often glorifies power, success, and wealth, embracing God's unconditional love invites us to redefine what it means to live a meaningful and purposeful life. It shifts our focus from self-centered pursuits to acts of service, kindness, and generosity towards others. It empowers us to use our time, talents, and resources to uplift the marginalized, care for the vulnerable, and advocate for justice and equality. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love gives us hope in the face of adversity and despair. It reminds us that no matter how dark the night may seem, the dawn of redemption and renewal is always on the horizon. It instills within us a resilient spirit that can weather life's storms with courage, faith, and perseverance. But perhaps most importantly, embracing God's unconditional love enables us to experience a deep sense of belonging and purpose. It assures us that we are never alone, that we are part of a larger tapestry of humanity woven together by the threads of divine love. It calls us to live in community with one another, supporting, encouraging, and uplifting each other along the journey of faith. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a one-time decision, but a lifelong commitment, a commitment to love extravagantly, forgive freely, and live boldly in the knowledge that we are deeply loved and accepted by our Creator. So, my dear friends, as we reflect on the profound implications of embracing God's unconditional love, let us be inspired to live lives that reflect the transformative power of grace. Let us be beacons of hope, agents of reconciliation, and instruments of love in a world that is longing for healing and redemption. When we talk about embracing the unconditional love of God, we're not just talking about a warm feeling or a comforting thought. We're delving into the very essence of existence, the core of our being, and the foundation of our identity. At its core, God's unconditional love is about acceptance of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. It's about recognizing that we are deeply and unconditionally loved just as we are, with all our flaws, imperfections, and brokenness. This acceptance is not based on our achievements or our adherence to a set of rules, but solely on the fact that we are beloved children of God. Embracing this love means coming to terms with our own humanity, acknowledging our weaknesses, our failures, and our deepest longings. It means letting go of the masks we wear and the facades we put up to impress others, and instead embracing our true selves, vulnerable, authentic, and deeply loved. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love calls us to extend that same acceptance and grace to others. It challenges us to look beyond outward appearances, social status, or cultural differences and see each person as a beloved child of God deserving of love and respect. This kind of love transcends boundaries, breaks down barriers, and builds bridges of understanding and compassion. But embracing God's unconditional love goes even deeper than acceptance and compassion. It's about transformation, allowing the love of God to penetrate every aspect of our lives and change us from the inside out. It's about surrendering our will, our desires, and our plans to the greater purpose and plan of God, trusting that His love is working in us to bring about wholeness and restoration. This process of transformation is not always easy. It requires humility to admit our need for God's love and grace, courage to confront the parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden, and faith to trust in the promise of redemption and renewal. But it's in this journey of transformation that we find true freedom, the freedom to be who God created us to be, the freedom to love and be loved without fear or reservation. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is a lifelong journey, a journey of acceptance, compassion, and transformation. It's a journey that leads us deeper into the heart of God, where we discover the true meaning of love, forgiveness, and grace. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of faith, let us open our hearts to the boundless love of God. Let us embrace our true selves, extend grace to others, and allow God's love to transform us from the inside out. And may we, in turn, become channels of this love, radiating light, hope, and healing in a world that is longing for the transformative power of grace. Embracing the unconditional love of God is not merely a passive acceptance, but an active engagement with divine grace. It requires us to continually seek God's presence, to immerse ourselves in His Word, and to cultivate a deep and intimate relationship with Him. This relationship becomes the foundation upon which we build our lives, guiding our thoughts, words, and actions with wisdom and discernment. As we journey deeper into the heart of God, we discover that His love is not just a comforting notion, but a powerful force that empowers us to live with purpose and passion. It ignites within us a fire for justice, mercy, and righteousness, compelling us to speak out against injustice, to stand up for the marginalized, and to work towards building a more compassionate and equitable society. Moreover, embracing the unconditional love of God enables us to find meaning and significance in every aspect of our lives. It allows us to see our work, our relationships, and even our struggles through the lens of divine purpose, knowing that everything has been orchestrated by a loving and sovereign God for our ultimate good. This perspective transforms even the most mundane tasks into opportunities for worship and service, as we offer our lives as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. But perhaps most profoundly, embracing God's unconditional love fills us with a sense of hope, a hope that transcends the limitations of this world and anchors our souls in the promise of eternity. It reassures us that no matter what trials or tribulations we may face, we are held secure in the embrace of a God who is faithful to His promises and steadfast in His love. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is a transformative journey, a journey of discovery, growth, and renewal. It's a journey that leads us ever deeper into the heart of God, where we find healing for our brokenness, strength for our weaknesses, and joy for our sorrows. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of faith, let us be steadfast in our commitment to embrace the unconditional love of God. Let us surrender ourselves fully to His will, trusting in His goodness and mercy to lead us on paths of righteousness and peace. And may we, in turn, become vessels of His love, shining brightly in a world that is desperate for the transformative power of grace. When we fully embrace God's unconditional love, we enter into a sacred partnership with the divine, a partnership characterized by intimacy, trust, and mutual surrender. It's a relationship that invites us to lay down our burdens, our fears, and our doubts at the feet of a God who knows us intimately and loves us unconditionally. In return, we are met with open arms, with grace upon grace, and with a love that knows no bounds. This partnership with God empowers us to live lives of authenticity and purpose. It frees us from the shackles of fear and self-doubt, allowing us to step boldly into the fullness of who we are created to be. We no longer need to strive for the approval of others or measure our worth by worldly standards, for we are already fully known and fully loved by our Creator. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love opens our hearts to a deeper understanding of forgiveness and reconciliation. It's a recognition that we are all in need of grace, that we all fall short of the glory of God, and that true healing and wholeness can only come through the power of forgiveness. When we extend forgiveness to others, we release ourselves from the chains of resentment and bitterness, allowing the love of God to flow freely through us and into the world. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love empowers us to live lives of radical generosity and compassion. It's a recognition that everything we have, our time, our talents, our resources, is a gift from God to be shared with others. When we embrace this mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, we become channels of blessing to those around us, bringing light and hope to a world that is often shrouded in darkness. But perhaps most importantly, embracing God's unconditional love transforms our understanding of what it means to truly live. It's a recognition that life is not just about achieving success, accumulating wealth, or gaining power, but about loving and being loved in return. It's about cultivating deep and meaningful relationships, making a positive impact in the lives of others, and leaving a legacy of love that extends far beyond our time on this earth. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is a radical act of surrender, a surrender of our will, our desires, and our very lives to the one who created us, redeemed us, and loves us beyond measure. It's a journey of transformation, of renewal, and of awakening to the abundant life that God has planned for each and every one of us. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of faith, let us open our hearts ever wider to the unconditional love of God. Let us allow this love to penetrate every aspect of our being, transforming us from the inside out and empowering us to be agents of grace and reconciliation in a world that is desperate for the transformative power of love, focusing on the profound impact it has on our spiritual growth and fulfillment. When we embrace the unconditional love of God, we embark on a spiritual journey of profound depth and significance. It's a journey that takes us beyond mere religious observance or ritualistic practice and into the heart of a living relationship with the divine. At the core of this journey is the recognition that God's love is not something to be earned or deserved, but freely given, a gift of grace that transcends human understanding. When we fully embrace this truth, it revolutionizes our understanding of spirituality, transforming it from a set of rules and regulations to a dynamic and vibrant relationship with the Creator of the universe. This relationship becomes the foundation upon which we build our spiritual lives, providing us with strength, guidance, and sustenance in times of trial and tribulation. It's a relationship that sustains us through the ups and downs of life, offering comfort in times of sorrow, wisdom in times of confusion, and hope in times of despair. Moreover, embracing the unconditional love of God opens us up to the transformative power of the Holy Spirit working within us. It's a recognition that we are not alone on this journey, but are constantly being guided and empowered by the presence of God within us. This realization fills us with a sense of purpose and meaning as we align our lives with the will of God and participate in the unfolding of His divine plan for creation. As we continue to walk this path of spiritual growth and fulfillment, we find ourselves drawn deeper into the mysteries of faith, exploring the depths of God's love and the richness of His grace. We become more attuned to the voice of the Spirit speaking to us in the quiet moments of prayer, guiding us along the path of righteousness and leading us into deeper intimacy with God. But perhaps most importantly, embracing the unconditional love of God transforms our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. It's a recognition that we are beloved children of God, created in His image, and called to reflect His love and light to the world around us. This realization fills us with a sense of joy and purpose as we embrace our identity as ambassadors of Christ and instruments of His peace. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a spiritual experience, but a way of life, a life lived in communion with the divine, guided by the Spirit, and overflowing with love, joy, and peace. It's a journey of transformation, of renewal, and of awakening to the abundant life that God has planned for each and every one of us. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of spiritual growth and fulfillment, let us open our hearts ever wider to the unconditional love of God. Let us allow this love to permeate every aspect of our being, transforming us from the inside out and empowering us to be beacons of light and vessels of grace in a world that is longing for the transformative power of love. Embracing the unconditional love of God is akin to stepping into a boundless ocean of grace, a grace that washes over us, cleansing us from the stains of our past and rejuvenating our spirits with hope and renewal. It's a love that reaches beyond the confines of time and space, embracing us in our entirety, our joys, our sorrows, our victories, and our defeats. When we fully immerse ourselves in this love, we find ourselves liberated from the burden of striving to earn God's approval or measure up to some arbitrary standard of righteousness. Instead, we are invited to rest in the assurance that we are already fully accepted and cherished by our Creator, just as we are. This profound acceptance allows us to let go of the masks we wear and the pretenses we maintain, revealing our true selves in all their beauty and brokenness. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love enables us to navigate the complexities of life with a sense of peace and equanimity. It's a recognition that no matter what challenges we may face, whether it's loss, failure, or uncertainty, we are held secure in the palm of God's hand, surrounded by His steadfast love and unwavering grace. This awareness gives us the courage to face the storms of life with resilience and fortitude, knowing that we are never alone. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love empowers us to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and generosity. When we recognize the magnitude of God's love for us, a love that spared no expense, that sacrificed everything for our sake, we cannot help but respond with gratitude and awe. This gratitude, in turn, spills over into every aspect of our lives, inspiring us to live with open hearts and open hands, ready to share the blessings we have received with others. But perhaps most profoundly, embracing God's unconditional love transforms our understanding of what it means to be human. It's a recognition that we are not defined by our successes or failures, our strengths or weaknesses, but by the love of God that dwells within us. This realization fills us with a sense of purpose and significance as we embrace our calling to be channels of God's love and agents of His kingdom here on earth. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a passive acceptance, but an active engagement with the divine. It's a journey of discovery, growth, and transformation, a journey that leads us ever deeper into the heart of God, where we find healing for our wounds, strength for our journey, and joy for our souls. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of embracing God's unconditional love, let us do so with open hearts and willing spirits. Let us allow this love to shape us, guide us, and empower us to be the people that God created us to be. And may we, in turn, become ambassadors of this love, shining brightly in a world that is hungry for the transformative power of grace. When we talk about embracing the unconditional love of God, we're not simply discussing a theoretical concept or theological doctrine. We're delving into a reality that has the power to radically transform our understanding of ourselves, our relationships, and our purpose in the world. At its core, embracing God's unconditional love means accepting ourselves as beloved children of God, worthy of love and acceptance regardless of our flaws, failures, or past mistakes. It's about recognizing that our worth is not contingent upon our achievements, possessions, or social status, but rooted in the unchanging love of our Creator. This acceptance of God's love enables us to let go of the crippling burden of perfectionism and self-doubt, freeing us to live authentically and wholeheartedly. It empowers us to embrace our humanity, the messy, beautiful, imperfect reality of who we are, without fear or shame. Moreover, embracing God's unconditional love transforms the way we relate to others. It challenges us to extend grace and forgiveness to those who have hurt us, recognizing that we too are in need of forgiveness and understanding. It inspires us to cultivate empathy and compassion, seeing each person we encounter as a beloved child of God deserving of love and respect. This transformation extends beyond our individual relationships and into the fabric of society. Embracing God's unconditional love compels us to work for justice, equality, and reconciliation in our communities, standing up against systems of oppression and advocating for the dignity and rights of all people. It calls us to build bridges across divides of race, ethnicity, religion, and culture, fostering unity and understanding in a world too often marked by division and discord. Furthermore, embracing God's unconditional love infuses every aspect of our lives with purpose and meaning. It invites us to align our desires and ambitions with God's will, using our gifts and talents to serve others and bring about positive change in the world. It empowers us to live with courage and resilience, knowing that we are upheld by the steadfast love of our Creator in every circumstance. But perhaps most importantly, embracing God's unconditional love deepens our spiritual journey, leading us into a deeper intimacy with God and a richer experience of His presence. It invites us to surrender our hearts and minds to the transformative power of His love, allowing Him to mold us into the people He created us to be. In essence, embracing the unconditional love of God is not just a one-time decision, but a lifelong journey, a journey of discovery, growth, and transformation. It's a journey that leads us into the depths of God's love, where we find healing for our brokenness, strength for our struggles, and hope for our future. So, my dear friends, as we continue on this journey of embracing God's unconditional love, let us do so with open hearts and willing spirits. Let us allow this love to permeate every aspect of our lives, transforming us from the inside out and empowering us to be agents of grace and love in a world that is hungry for the transformative power of God's love. One powerful example of God's unconditional love is found in the story of the prodigal son, which Jesus shares in the Gospel of Luke, Luke 15 verses 11 to 32. In this parable, a young man demands his inheritance from his father and sets off to squander it in reckless living. When he hits rock bottom and realizes the error of his ways, he returns home, expecting rejection and punishment. However, instead of condemnation, the father welcomes him with open arms, running to embrace his wayward son and celebrating his return. Despite his son's betrayal and folly, the father's love remains steadfast and unconditional. He doesn't demand repayment or retribution, but instead extends forgiveness, grace, and reconciliation. This story beautifully illustrates God's unconditional love for each of us. No matter how far we may stray, how deeply we may fall, or how many mistakes we may make, God's love remains constant and unwavering. He waits patiently for us to turn back to Him, ready to welcome us with open arms and shower us with His boundless grace and mercy. Another example from the Bible is the story of the woman caught in adultery, found in the Gospel of John, John 8 verses 1 to 11. When the religious leaders bring her before Jesus, accusing her and demanding her punishment according to the law, Jesus responds with compassion and grace. He challenges her accusers to examine their own hearts and then extends forgiveness and freedom to the woman, urging her to go and sin no more. In this story, Jesus demonstrates God's unconditional love by refusing to condemn the woman or cast stones at her. Instead, He offers her forgiveness and a fresh start, inviting her to leave behind her life of sin and embrace a new way of living. It's a powerful reminder that God's love is not based on our performance or worthiness, but on His own character of love and mercy. These stories from the Bible serve as powerful reminders of God's unconditional love for each of us. They show us that no matter how far we may stray or how deeply we may fall, God's love remains constant and unchanging. It's a love that transcends our failures, forgives our sins, and offers us the hope of redemption and reconciliation. In embracing the unconditional love of God as demonstrated in these biblical stories, we find the courage to acknowledge our own brokenness, the humility to seek forgiveness and reconciliation, and the strength to extend grace and compassion to others. It's a journey of transformation that leads us into deeper intimacy with God and empowers us to live lives of love, grace, and purpose. So, my dear friends, as we reflect on these examples from the Bible, let us be reminded of the profound depth of God's unconditional love for each of us. Let us embrace this love with open hearts and willing spirits, allowing it to transform us from the inside out and empower us to be agents of grace and reconciliation in a world that is hungry for the transformative power of God's love. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video and delve into the profound theme of God's unconditional love as depicted in the Bible. Your engagement and interest in exploring this topic are deeply appreciated. May the insights shared here continue to inspire and encourage you on your own spiritual journey. Thank you again for watching, and may you be blessed abundantly with the boundless love and grace of God. In a world often plagued by judgment, criticism, and division, the concept of unconditional love might seem like a distant ideal. Yet, it is precisely in times of turmoil and strife that the essence of this divine love shines the brightest. God's love knows no bounds. It doesn't discriminate based on our past mistakes, our shortcomings, or the color of our skin. It's a love that embraces us in our brokenness, lifts us up from the depths of despair, and offers us forgiveness when we least deserve it. But perhaps, even more profoundly, it's a love that extends redemption. It's the assurance that no matter how far we've strayed from the path, there is always a way back. It's the unwavering belief that our past does not define our future and that every moment is an opportunity for renewal and transformation. Friends, embracing the unconditional love of God is not merely an abstract concept. It's a choice, an invitation to let go of the burdens of guilt and shame and to bask in the light of acceptance and grace. It's a journey of self-discovery where we learn to see ourselves through the eyes of our Creator, valued, cherished, and infinitely worthy. But make no mistake, this journey is not always